Okay, here we are back again with more Dragon Age Inquisition. And we're back in Haven because I wanted to... first I want to start out with the war table missions because I got a bunch of operations to set up.
I don't know if Apothecary Don can get you that many healing drafts, revered mother.
If he cannot, then he may simply tell me no.
Yes, revered mother.
And if he does wish to tell me no,
When there was no
I
sky,
would
maiden,
appreciate him doing
you were
so
the
in
sky.
person.
When there
Yes,
was no earth,
revered
you
mother.
were the earth. When there was
She
nothing,
is definitely a mom. She acts like a mom anyway. It's funny. But yeah, let's check out our war table operations, and then I'll probably go back to the Storm Coast. I did some inventory management, so now we can go back to the Storm Coast and run around a bit more. Let's see, what have we got? Truth or Dare, Lake Celestine. Nightingale, orders received, will update. Fisher, okay, so we've got somebody in place there, so that's great. Utilize the Grey Warden treaties. Ah, yes, we had Josephine do this. I was correct. Spreading word that the Inquisition was allied with the Grey Wardens meant messages of support poured in. With the treaties in hand, we've managed to secure new recruits and donations of both gold and equipment. The commander will make good use of them. All right, and we got a nice new outfit there. What else? Upon the Waking Sea. We found what we were looking for, an ancient vault, all but buried in the thick vegetation at the heart of the island, no doubt untouched for over 1,000 years. The effort to open the vault without setting off traps was considerable, and what we found within was interesting. According to an agent named Rion, this was the retreat of one of the last of Andraste's disciples, a guardian who fled some manner of attack on the site of the sacred ashes. He expected reinforcement by other disciples, who never arrived. Whatever texts the man thought to preserve have mostly crumbled, but we recovered a number of other artifacts from the site. It is a significant find that will undoubtedly prove of great interest to Chantry scholars, even if it will take them years to sort through all the debris. All right, great. Sounds good. This is the mission that Krem gave us. We talked to him about this. Investigate Theronfall Redoubt. The Templars at Theronfall Redoubt went quiet while the Inquisition dealt with Redcliffe. I'd be happy to take the Chargers out to investigate the area. Lieutenant Cremisius Classy. Liliana says, this calls for a light touch. My scouts can make a distraction, letting the Chargers sneak in close. Cullen says, I can send the Chargers in with Inquisition troops to bolster their numbers. I think the Liliana's got the right idea with this. Let's let the Chargers do their thing and just make a distraction so that they have the opportunity to do it.
Let's see what we have.
Let's see, what else have we got? An ally from Starkhaven. The Inquisition has received a missive from Starkhaven. Most cordial greetings. My name is Sebastian Vale, sole heir of the Vale Princes of Starkhaven. Hi, Sebastian. I recently retook the throne of this great city from those who sought to gain it through unjust means. As a most devoted adherent of the Chantry, I felt the loss of Most Holy Justinia V keenly. I, too, hoped for a resolution to the terrible conflict that claimed the lives of hundreds in Kirkwall, and now threatens to claim all of Thedas. I extend Starkhaven's hand in friendship to the Inquisition. Together, let us right the wrongs visited upon our world. Prince Sebastian Vale. Well, that sounds good, and it looks like Josephine will handle this one. I will send emissaries. Though the Free March's cities have always been independent, earning the support of the most prosperous ones may be to our advantage. And yeah, Starkhaven is definitely one of the most prosperous free cities. I think Starkhaven is probably considered the wealthiest of the free cities, of the Free Marches. I think. So it's probably a good idea to, have friends with deep pockets. So let's go ahead and do that. And let's see if we can find something for Cullen to do. These are all completed, I think. The University of Orlais is still available, but I was going to have somebody else do that, I think. And answer a request from Hasmal. Commander Cullen, I understand the Inquisition is working with Redcliffe's mages. Yes, we are. I'm surprised someone from Kirkwall would condone any arrangement with them, but it does put you in a position to aid us. Yeah, he didn't really condone it. Let's just say he has mixed feelings about this and leave it there. Hasmal's circle sustained significant damage during the uprisings. Rather than follow the Lord Seeker, many of our Templars elected to remain and deal with the aftermath, but our resources are limited. Furthermore, we have loyalist mages with us. Hasmal's people would happily throw them to the wolves, even though they had nothing to do with the rebellion. As it stands, I fear we may fail in our duty to protect them. I trust you sympathize with our predicament. I humbly request our charges be transferred to the Inquisition. Knight Commander Bryson. Oh, well, that seems like something Cullen might be pretty good at. We have a few Templars of our own. Hasmal's Templars will be comfortable working with them. They can ensure safe passage for the mages. Liliana says, hostility toward mages remains, but there are ways to travel without drawing notice. Josephine says, we can arrange safe passage from Hasmal and let the city's leaders believe they owe us a favor. That might be alright. But I think Cullen's got the right idea here. Let's just send a few of our Templars to help escort them safely to the Inquisition. Pretty simple and straightforward. So let's do
All
it.
right.
Alrighty. Then I think, yeah, probably what I'm gonna do is go back to the Storm Coast. I did receive, let's see, a pretty nice set of robes, actually. It's kind of ugly. So I don't know if I'll put it on myself, but one of my other mages might be okay with it. I don't think Dorian or Vivian would appreciate my Griffin robes. Would appreciate the Griffin robes very much. They're too fashion conscious. But I don't think Solus cares that much. So I'll give it to Solus for now. That seems okay. Vivian approves of something I did. Probably escorting the mages. Or maybe the Lake Celestine one. I think they approve of the completed mission, so probably Lake Celestine. Okay, so let's go ahead and head out. I want to head out to the Storm Coast. We got a bunch more stuff to do here. I've still only established one camp, and then we recruited the Blades of Hessarian company. So I'm gonna bring, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get to that yet, though. So I'm not gonna worry about the Red Lyrium stuff. Mostly I'm concerned about the Wardeny stuff, which means I would like to bring Blackwall. So I'm definitely gonna need a rogue. So I mean, let's go ahead and bring Varric. Let's bring Blackwall. And, let's just bring the Iron Bull, because I like the Iron Bull. He's fun. I'll have 2 warriors, and that's fine.
I'm surprised you don't wear heavier armor on your blind side.
If I did that, I'd just be telling people where to hit me. As it is, every half-decent fighter sees the eye and thinks he can feint, then come in with a low stab. Then I'd chop his head off. It's like a gimme.
That can't work every time.
It doesn't, but taking a blade to the ribs is a pretty good teacher.
Well, sounds like Iron Bull knows how to deal with it. He's clearly been without his eye for long enough to know how to deal with that situation. I'm gonna go this way first, I think, just for shits and giggles. So that we recruited Iron Bull over here, but I want to head this way.
Somewhere across all that water is Kirkwall.
It's been a while since I was at sea. Traveling to Haven must have been quite the journey.
Between Cassandra's friendly company and Cullen's feelings on sea travel, it was great.
Oh, poor Cullen. He probably got so seasick. I bet he was super, super seasick. Let's do chain reaction. That sounds fun. Iron Bowl. Let's give you Whirlwind. Whirlwind is a good two-handed skill. I think I've checked out some of this stuff earlier, but we didn't go very far. And I would like to. Ooh, what's this? What discipline achieves? We came first from the sea. The dreadnoughts took Parvalin at a stroke. We marched on the land called Saharan, then Rivain and the Tevinter Imperium. Our Vidithari told us the Tevinter capital of Minrathous was unassailable. Though it did not fall, its walls were cracked with steel and Bakun fire. Tevinter saw what discipline achieves. The Baz called us conquerors when we brought them purpose. When we Tomasrans teach a child to read or a wilderness is made fruitful, is that conquest? Without the certainty of the Qun, there can be no reason. The Baz raised 3 retaliations against our forces, pushing back in Antiva and Rivain. The Kabathari, still adapting to the Qun's rule, suffered worst, the very people the Baz sought to liberate. The land burned while the Baz called us savages. Such madness and hypocrisy needed another answer. We signed the treaties of the Baz to silence them and left. We will return. Patience is the manifestation of self-control. While the Baz bicker amongst themselves, we prepare. What is time compared to the demands of the Qun? Tomasran teaching notes recovered and translated. Well, that's interesting. What do we got? Oh, spindleweed, yeah. I need lots of spindleweed. I don't know. I'll try not to get too distracted picking up resources. But here's another thing. The Qun. Long ago, the Ashkari lived in a great city by the sea. Wealth and prosperity shone upon the city like sunlight, and still its people grumbled in discontent. The Ashkari walked the streets of his home and saw that all around him were the signs of genius. Triumphs of architecture, artistic masterpieces, the palaces of wealthy merchants, libraries, and concert halls. But he also saw signs of misery, the poor, sick, lost, frightened, and the hopeless. And the Ashkari asked himself, how can one people be both wise and ignorant, great and ruined, triumphant and despairing? So the Ashkari left the land of his birth, seeking out other cities and nations, looking for a people who had found wisdom enough to end hopelessness and despair. He wandered for many years through empires filled with palaces and gardens, but in every nation of the wise, the great, and the mighty, he found the forgotten, the abandoned, and the poor. Finally, he came to a vast desert, a wasteland of bare rock, clawing at the empty sky, where he took shelter in the shadow of a towering rock, and resolved to meditate until he found his answer or perished. Many days passed, until one night, as he gazed out from the shadow of the rocks, he saw the lifeless desert awaken. 100,000 locusts hatched from the barren ground, and as one, they turned south, a single wave of moving earth. The Ashkari rose and followed in their wake. A path of devastation miles wide, the once verdant land turned to waste, and the Ashkari's eyes were opened. Existence is a choice. There is no chaos in the world, only complexity. Knowledge of the complex is wisdom. From wisdom of the world comes wisdom of the self. Mastery of the self is mastery of the world. Loss of the self is the source of suffering. Suffering is a choice, and we can refuse it. It is in our own power to create the world or destroy it. And the Ashkari went forth to his people. An excerpt from the Qun, Canto 1. So yeah, the Qun is definitely a really interesting philosophy. I wouldn't call it a religion in the sense of I'm turning down the sound effects because it's just a little bit noisy. The Qun is definitely a fascinating philosophy, and the appeal of it is certainly understandable, especially for people who would otherwise be oppressed in this world, right? So, like, the elves and stuff. You can sort of understand why, like, a city elf who's spent their entire life in an alienage or even in slavery might see a great deal of appeal in the Qun, in its philosophies. Because the Qun doesn't really allow for suffering in the way that, like, Andrastianism does. Andrastianism kind of accepts that there are going to be poor people who are oppressed and suffer. And the Qun rejects that notion entirely. So I can see how it would be appealing. Right? The issue, of course, is the fact that the Qunari want to forcibly convert all of Thedas to their philosophy. That's where we have problems. That's where the problems arise. Alright. We got some more. Oh, that lightning was very helpful, actually. Thank you. There we go. Ah, and spiders. Gotta love them. It's not a medieval fantasy game without giant effing spiders. There is an Astrarium, but I believe it's above me. What is going on out here? Oh my. That's definitely a dragon. And a giant. A dragon and a giant fighting each other on a beach. Wow.
Okay, that's badass. Let's try not to get eaten, shall we?
I have to agree with Iron Bull, actually. That's pretty badass. Oh my. Look at what that dragon just did. Oh, wow. Oh, there it goes. It killed the giant and now it's leaving. It just flew away. Well, that was pretty awesome. I actually got XP just for standing there and watching that dragon kill that giant. Oh no, there we go. What a surprise. It's a terror. There we go. Alright, let's take care of this terror. I don't know if dispelling will work on these unless they actually have a barrier up. Alright. Let's see what we got. Can I get both of these? Oh. Oh. It's gonna be pretty close, but let's try it. I think I might have got two. I think I might have got both. We still ended up with... Oh, gosh darn it. Gosh darn you.
Someone help!
Ouch. You take a health potion. And I'm gonna stick a barrier on you guys too. Just to make sure. There we go. I think. Okay, where are you? There you are.
Cold, salty.
You like the sea air, Blackwall? I hope so. See if we can let's see if we can solve this. Again, most of these Australian puzzles I don't find very difficult, usually. Some of them are kind of tricksy, but most of them are okay. The trick is usually to start like on one that hasn't either only has one going off of it or like has 3 or 5, like an odd number of lines from it. That is what I have found. There we go. Servani. Referred to as the Chained Man in common parlance, the constellation Servani is traditionally represented by a man dragging a heavy chain behind him. This is thought to be an ancient Tevinter representation both of Andorral, the old god of slaves, and of the Tevinter system of slavery itself. The representation of Servani has been used by the Trisolus Guild for well over 2,000 years, according to their claim, and is visibly imprinted upon the armor of both juggernauts, the giant golems guarding the gates to the city of Minrathous, from the steady Thedosian astronomy. Alright, that's one astrarium down. Dragonlings. Ouch. Let's get this guy off of Varric. Oh, there's another one. Surprise, surprise. There we go. Let's check it out. All right. Who decided this was a good idea? Yeah, that's I think one of these corners is probably going to be the best option. Let's start with this like this. Nope, that one. Nearly messed that one up. Let's see. Did I mess this up? I sure hope not. Got it. For Venial, commonly referred to as the Oak, the constellation Fervanus is generally represented by a towering tree with leafless branches. Many scholars believe this is a representation of nature that harkens back to the lore of the early Neramenians, whose beliefs largely aligned with animism prior to the rise of old god worship and the creation of the Tevinter Imperium. Others, however, believe Fervanus was originally a constellation of the Elven people, specifically a depiction of Andruil, goddess of the hunt. Vir Tanadal, or Way of Three Trees, is a central tenet of Andruil, and some think that Fervanus originally represented this concept. Morin's Outlook. The large statue situated at Morin's Outlook once served as a marker for ships coming to trade with the dwarves. Beyond an assumed connection with the Great Port at Derwin's Mouth, nothing is known of the statue's namesake. From the Storm Coast and its history by Brother Vincent, Chantry's scholar. Okay, so like this guy here, I guess. I've been doing Witcher 3 replay just for the hell of it. When I'm not recording this, and And it was really funny because, like, I was expecting Geralt to just sort of slide down the ladder, but no, I have to, like, actually tell him to go down. It's hilarious, actually. Let's see if I can probably get both of these in there. Oh, that's a rage demon. Oh dear. I'm gonna hit you guys with another barrier. Alright. I think we got it now.
Ever heard of the pale ship that appears on the mists? The Windy Marcher. I think that's what they call it.
I have not. No, that's a new one to me, Blackwall. I've never heard of that. It sounds kind of like, you know, various. I mean, that makes sense. They're ghost ships are a really common type of legend among seafaring people. So it makes sense that Thedas would probably have a few legends along those lines as well. Sometimes I remember that Thedas is literally an acronym for the Dragon Age setting because they literally just couldn't think of a better name for it, and now it's canon, and I laugh to myself because it's pretty funny to think about that, like, Thedas is the actual canon name for the setting, and it's literally just an acronym for the Dragon Age setting. Morin's Steps. It is not uncommon to enter a cave nestled in the basalt columns of the Storm Coast and discover traces of ancient dwarven architecture. Prior to the First Age, the dwarven people maintained a sizable presence on the coast. Mining guilds were drawn to the area's then plentiful mineral deposits. All dwarven activity ceased when Darkspawn incursions forced the deep roads to be sealed, severing the region from Orzammar. From the Storm Coast and its history by Brother Vincent, Chantry Scholar. Parvallen, the occupied north. In the 30th year of the Steel Age, the first Qunari ships were sighted off the coast of Parvallen in the far north, marking the beginning of a new age of warfare. History calls this the First Qunari War, but it was mostly a one-sided bloodbath, with the Qunari advancing far into the mainland. Qunari warriors in glittering steel armor carved through armies with ease. Their cannons, the likes of which our ancestors had never seen, reduced city walls to rubble in a matter of seconds. Stories of Qunari occupation vary greatly. It is said they dismantled families and sent captives to learning camps for indoctrination into their religion. Those who refused to cooperate disappeared to mines or construction camps. For every tale of suffering, however, there is another of enlightenment deriving from something called the Qun. This is either a philosophical code or a written text that governs all aspects of Qunari life, perhaps both. One converted Saharan reported pity for those who refused to embrace the Qun, as if the conquerors had led him to a sort of self-discovery. For all my life I followed the Maker wherever his path led me, he wrote, but in the Qun I have found the means to travel my own path. It has been said that the most complete way to wipe out a people is not with blades but with books. Thankfully, a world that had repelled 4 blights would not easily bow to a foreign aggressor, and so the exalted marches began. The greatest advantage of the Chantry-led forces was the Circle of Magi. For all their technology, the Qunari appeared to harbor great hatred for magic. Faced with cannons, the Chantry responded with lightning and balls of fire. The Kunari armies lacked the sheer numbers of humanity. So many were slain at Marnus Pell on both sides that the Vale is said to be permanently sundered, the ruins still plagued by restless corpses. But each year the Chantry pushed further and further into the Kunari lines, although local converts to the Qun proved difficult to return to Andraste's teachings. By the end of the Storm Age, the Kunari were truly pushed back. Ravain was the only human land that retained the Kunari religion after being freed, and its rulers attempted to barter a peace. Most human lands signed the Lamerian Accord, accepting Tevinter Imperium. It is a shaky peace that has lasted to this day. From the Exalted Marches, an examination of Chantry warfare by Sister Patrine, Chantry scholar. So there's more Kunari stuff. I like all the Kunari stuff. I think it's really interesting, and the door's locked. Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of I think the Kunari are really, really interesting. One of the most interesting and original aspects of this whole franchise is the whole idea of the Kunari as a race and as a philosophy. So I'm always happy to learn more about them and get and meet more characters who are Kunari or were Kunari or are from that sort of tradition. Because I don't feel like there are a lot of sort of fantasy settings that have things like that here. Like there is some like historical precedent for the Kunari, militant Confucianism, I think, and some a little bit of Islam in it. But it's a lot, not a lot of medieval fantasy settings bother with stuff like that.
Let's look around.
Yeah, let's do that. What are we looking for? I don't even know. Probably ward anything? Is there wardeny stuff here? Let's see. A Grey Warden's journal. I grow more convinced that if he was ever here, he is now long gone. Still, it would not do for us to miss him through laziness, and he was one of our most skilled warriors. If anyone could hide himself here, it would be he. One of the fishermen shows promise with a spear, and has shoulders like an ox from throwing nets all day. He asked about joining the Grey Wardens. Under other circumstances, I would be honored to take a worthy and willing volunteer. Now, my orders did not say whether I should seek new recruits, even with our circumstances, or because of them, I suppose. It did not hurt his cause that he was easy to look at, and clearly wished to know more about the Dalish. The Darkspawn are louder than I thought at first. The constant whisper at the back of my mind makes it difficult to sense them as easily as I usually do, but they are near the surface. Perhaps bandits are not the worst these people have to face. From pages torn loose from a journal found on the Storm Coast.
The Wardens were here at some point.
And here's some treaties. Blackwall likes that.
I think the Inquisition could benefit from this.
I agree, Blackwall. I think we should take them. A rebel mage. I want to grab this really quick while I'm at it. Oh. Oh, my honey. You just stop that now, okay? You just stop that now. Just... Alright. You're getting annoying with all the barriers. The barriers are getting really annoying. Seriously? Another one? For reals? Ah, for goodness sake. If you pop up another barrier before you die, okay, good. I was gonna say, you
Sounds
better
like
not
joining
do
the
that.
Grey Wardens is like following the Qun.
How, do you think?
Really?
Service. Hard work for a good cause, always knowing where you fit in, what you have to do.
Oh, that's
I
fair.
suppose I see the similarity when you put it like that.
Little surprised I got there before you did, big guy.
A glowing key found on a crazy mage in the Storm Coast. Use the key to open the cabin. Oh, I see. It will unlock that door I found. Nice. From the Canticle of Transfigurations. Many are those who wander in sin, despairing that they are lost forever, but the one who repents, who has faith unshaken by the darkness of the world, and boasts not, nor gloats over the misfortunes of the weak, but takes delight in the Maker's law and creations, she shall know the peace of the Maker's benediction. Canticle of Transfigurations, 10 verse 1. I like the idea that, like, the chant of light, uses mostly female pronouns when talking about a generalized human or, you know, person. In the same way that, like, the Bible is usually translated to male pronouns because patriarchy, even if a female pronoun would actually work better in some cases, in some for some translations. Nonetheless, you know, how it's usually sort of traditionally translated, it usually involves male pronouns. The Stone Tree. So Galen made his way through the wood until he saw the light of the quarter moon shining on the rock. Elise emerged from the pines, and they shared a quick embrace before making their way to the waiting ship. From a local version of The Resourceful Lovers. It's said that lovers who kiss the stone tree will be blessed with a long and happy marriage. Those fond of the superstition tend to ignore renditions of the tale in which Galen and Elise drown at sea. Sister Holda from her unpublished work Folk Nonsense and Other Absurdities. It's funny. Alright, let's do this astrarium. What do we got? Oh boy. I think I can probably start here. I think. I'll try it. And then this one. And then this one. I have to... Oh, boy. I hope I'm getting this right. Oh, cripes. Ah, I did it. Yes. Awesome. Bellatanus. Referred to as the Maiden in common parlance, depictions of the constellation Bellatanus vary from one age to the next. It has always been considered fashionable for prominent women of the day to be declared the Maiden's personification. Queen Madrigal in the Exalted Age, for instance, and Queen Asha before her. None of these women would likely appreciate the fact that Bellatanus is believed to have originally referred to Erthemiel, the old god of beauty. And of course, Erthemiel was the old god that we fought. That was the archdemon in Dragon Age Origins. That was the archdemon of the Fifth Blight. Was Erthemiel. Not as pretty as you would have expected. And indeed, I believe this is our cave. That was not the button I wanted to push. And down we go. This is a loot, but I don't think it's the loot. Are you guys coming down here or what? Get down here, guys. Come on. Get with the program. Thank you, Blackwall. I appreciate your assistance. Let's go deeper. We have to. Oh, look at that spider. And another deep stalker. Ouch. The heck, you guys? Come on, protect me. I'm your mage. Why are there spiders in here, man? I went to all this work to open up this cave and I just got a bunch of spiders? There better be some good stuff in here. Prismatic Great Axe. Ooh. It's a level 12 Great Axe, but... And a Free March's Banner Crown. Alright, nice. But it's a pretty good one. It's one of the best early game Great Axes in the game, I think. I'll definitely be giving it to Iron Bull. It seems like something Iron Bull would like. He likes pretty things. He likes pretty things with blood grooves. Let's open up this door first, though. Notes found in a mage's hut. An excerpt from a manifesto on mage rights. Oh dear. The page is worn and creased as though read many times. Andraste suffered at the hands of magisters. Thus, she feared the influence of magic. But if the Maker blamed magic for the magisters' actions in the Black City, why would he still gift us with it? The oppression of mages stems from the fears of men, not the will of the Maker. A few personal thoughts are scrawled below. The fears of men. If they stay away, there will be no fear. This place is remote enough. Strange to hear no one talking in the other room, to feel no eyes watching me. I miss it sometimes, but if that was not the will of the Maker, then perhaps this is. Okay. What is down here? Creepy basement? Ooh, a mighty offense tonic recipe. That's nice.
This place is creepy.
I would have to agree with you there, Varric. This is a pretty creepy place. Why are all these dead people here? I don't understand. I'm concerned. But nothing attacked me, so there's no demons or anything. It's just a bunch of dead people in a creepy basement. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And now I think I have to go back up anyway, because I am smart. Loot. Oh, I think this might be it. Yeah. A Grey Warden's journal. He is not here. We have searched thoroughly, and we will now move on. How many days have I wasted here, with whispers lurking at the back of my mind, on this mad assignment? I pray we have more luck as we head south. After speaking with the other wardens, I told the fishermen about the darkspawn we sensed beneath the earth. They may not burst forth from the ground today or tomorrow, but I fear it will not be long, and we will not be here when they finally surface. The fishermen were grieved at the news, but they decided to make for West Hill, which is safe for now. As for the fisherman who was interested in joining, I convinced him that now was not the time. Others might have told him otherwise, but he is too young to make such a sacrifice simply because he does not wish to throw nets into the water all his life. We shared one last night by the campfire, and he went on his way with a smile, humming the song of Andruil as he left.
Looks like several wardens were traveling together.
Okay. What's this? Grey whiskey, right wine, conscription ale. Perhaps local to a handful of Grey Warden companies, these spirits reflect a custom, or legend, born of utility. Allowed to seize goods to aid their cause, wardens combine half-full bottles to save space while traveling. Never fully emptied, or, as with a kettle, cleaned, each eventually takes on a base flavor as unique as the warden carrying it. What do we care? Nothing burns like the first cup. Could be fact, could be tribute. It does seem as though the bottles range farther than the namesake Warden could. A bottle marked Vintage Warden Riordan. Serve yourself. Aw, Riordan. I loved Riordan. He was so good. And then he died. Okay, how do I actually get into this? Here we go. Let's see here. A Grey Warden's journal. Still no trace of him, though I feel the darkspawn in the ground below. Could he be lurking close to them, perhaps preparing to die with honor? I doubt it, but it is the only lead we have so far. I confess that this seems a fool's errand at times, given how much is at stake. We saw bandits harassing the fishermen, and we intervened. The fishermen thanked us, though I fear the bandits will return again in greater numbers, and we will not always be here to help. Nevertheless, as long as we are here, the fishermen are safe. The dreams continue, as they do every night. They make it hard for us to sleep, but we must persist. Hopefully the others will have found a solution by the time we return. In the meantime, I sing the song of Andruil to myself to clear my mind as best I can.
This belonged to the wardens.
Indeed. And this also belonged to the wardens.
Good find.
No doubt. So, and I've also been going for about almost an hour and a half, so I think I should have enough. That's a really great view of the Iron Bull's head and horns. It's a pleasure, sir. It's a pleasure. And I love his tattoos. I can't get over how awesome his tattoos are. They're great. I love the Iron Bull's design. It's really good. Anyway, so I think I've been going long enough to have enough for an episode. So I think I'll leave it here. Let's see. I'm gonna just look. Well, I haven't found a whole lot of shards yet, but that's okay. I think next time I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Oasis area and do a little bit of running around in the Oasis area before we jump into In Your Heart Shall Burn. So yeah, as always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode. Later!